Okay, let's get more on this story. Let's speak to Simon Mabon, who is a lecturer specialising in the Middle East at Lancaster University in England. Simon, many thanks for joining us. Let me first get your reaction to this US missile strike. Were you surprised by this move by the United States, especially given some of the sort of Syrian rhetoric that's been coming out of the Trump administration in recent months, very much along the lines of let's just stay out of it?
Sure, yeah. I think in the past couple of days we've seen things start to change. I think with the chemical weapons attack a couple of days ago, we saw that the events and the perception of these events had changed dramatically. And Trump's strong words about this had changed his view of Assad, I think suggested to me and to many others that things were going to change. And I think it is, it's the most obvious thing that Trump had to do. When he said that he was criticizing the Obama regime for implementing red lines, and then saying such strong comments about the use of chemical weapons, it sort of backed him into a point where he had to do something. He had to order this strike in order to make his foreign policy credible.
You say that, but it never does seem like Donald Trump is backed into a corner over anything. He seems to feel he can say most things and get away with them. But he did seem incredibly moved by those pictures of the children being gassed. His comments were very evocative. Do you think this is very much a move led by him, or is it a move led by his advisors, of which he has many military advisors very close to him?
I think it's probably a bit of both. I think Trump was obviously appalled and moved by those images. After all, how can't you be when you see such brutal, abhorrent images and you hear the tales of their suffering? It's hard not to be moved. So I think it's a combination of that and all of his advisors, many of whom were also involved in suggesting to President Obama that there should be a US missile strike on Syria. And let's not forget, the Obama regime did want to launch strikes against the Assad regime a number of years ago, but it was Congress that said no. So I think that there was this latent desire to do something, the idea of America having a responsibility to do something. And with this latest chemical weapon strike, it provided another opportunity. And when coupled with President Trump's horror at what had happened, I think it was an opportune moment to do that. Now, of course, Trump is particularly elusive when it comes to being pinned down about these things. But I think this is one of those times where he was reacting in an appropriate manner and in a responsible manner.
Many are saying that this is a one-off attack. This is just a deterrent against the use of chemical weapons specifically. But do you think there will be more pressure on Trump and the Trump administration if, say, there is another attack by the Syrian regime, which maybe is not necessarily a chemical attack?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. The ball right now is certainly in the court of Assad and his Russian and Iranian backers. So I guess we'll see what sort of move Assad makes, whether he decides to take heed of this warning and say, right, that's it, we won't be using chemical weapons anymore, but say we'll push the boundaries and see how far we can go before the US retaliates. Or whether he just says, okay, enough's enough, I've done what I achieved and what I wanted to achieve. So I think we'll see, I think time will tell as to what extent, the Trump regime will feel itself compelled to respond in such a violent manner.
Briefly, Simon, we're running out of time. Where do you think Russia goes from here? We have heard strong words coming out of Russia. The question is it going to be more than words?
Well, we've heard strong words coming out of Russia today, but yesterday we heard that support for Assad wouldn't be unconditional. So I think Russia's got a lot of hard thinking to do about what it wants to do in Syria, what it wants to do in Ukraine, and what it wants its longer-term strategy to be. So some serious pontification there.
Simon, appreciate your time. Simon Mabon, a lecturer specialising in Middle East at Lancaster University in England. Thank you.